Shedeur Sanders might be a Heisman Trophy contender because, and let me lay this out. So you cannot win the Heisman Trophy on a team that goes 6-6.
Lamar won it on a 7-5 team. Or no, they were 9-3.
No.
Yeah, they were 9-3.
Yeah,
that was the year after they went 7-5. My bad.
It's Robert Griffin III's Baylor, which I think was like 8-4, like 8-win, 9-win type team. Lamar and Johnny Manziel are 10-win teams with a couple losses. I'm not ready to say that Colorado is like destined for an 8-win season, but Colorado's playing in a bowl game because Colorado has taken down TCU. Colorado has taken down Nebraska. And given the quality of this team, and I think some of the resilience that we saw within this game, I just think you have to adjust your expectations and take them seriously. Even like Colorado State, that's going to be a win. Now we're at 3. And then you start to spin it forward later in the season, Arizona State, Cal. I think it might be Stanford instead of Cal, but
you definitely have to adjust your power ratings.
I definitely think that this Colorado team with Shedeur Sanders is capable of winning 8 games in the regular season. I thought the defense, look, some of it is Jeff Sims. All right. When you are a walking turnover, and that's not who he is. It's just his mood right now that Jeff Sims just gets the ball and he's so giving and generous. And we're just like so appreciative that he is that way, that he just wants to give the ball right back to you. But Colorado's defense did a pretty good job in some big spots against an offense that is not threatening, but some of the other offenses are not going to be as threatening as Oregon and USC and the teams that they're going to play later in September. So I came out of this game feeling pretty bullish on the idea that Shedeur Sanders being in the Heisman Trophy conversation is not just going to be a September thing. They're going to have a chance to be able to really build this thing out deeper into the season.
Could he be a finalist?
Yes.
Yeah. Could he win it? I don't think so. But he could get to New York if he puts up crazy numbers. And look, like they were throwing really late in this game, I assumed to try to get him numbers, right? Because he only had a certain number of touchdowns at that point. He finished with 2 on the day, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
Two picks, or excuse me, 2 touchdowns, no picks,
it's
obviously.
3 total touchdowns.
Yeah. They're going to try to get him numbers for sure. He's Deion's son, and that's really the only offense they have. They don't really run the football super effectively, and Sean Lewis and him are clearly in sync. But if you think about the guys that won the Heisman on teams that were not playoff contending teams, it was Tebow 07 following the year in which he was like a pretty kind of internet sensation on that 06 national title team, right? Robert Griffin, and he had huge games. That was the year he killed Oklahoma, right? Like a legitimate, pretty damn good Oklahoma team. And then, Lamar beat a team that I think won the Orange Bowl and crushed them in Florida State, like 55 to whatever it was. The TCU game won't be that for them. Like we will remember the TCU game. We won't really remember this game, I think, because we're probably going to remember it more just for how bad Nebraska's offense was, which, hey, Colorado got some tackles for loss finally, guys. 6. Problem is they did give up
sacks and 2 sacks. They had 0 sacks and 0 tackles for loss against TCU. They had 2 sacks and 6 tackles for loss against
How many sacks did Nebraska have?
8.
Yep.
Yeah.
And see, that's the thing about Shedeur to me that is concerning. He holds the ball forever.
He's got guts, man.
He needs to get rid of it or run. He got away with it against Nebraska. Although he only got away with it against Nebraska because Nebraska kept giving the ball away. Again, they had 8 sacks. I think your 9-win or your 8-win is way, way too. I think they can get to a bowl game. I don't think 8 or 9 wins is reasonable.
But what is the difference between 6 and 8 wins on this schedule?
But see, that's the thing.
Okay.
I thought the Pac-12 sucked. the Pac-12 doesn't suck. Cal is currently beating Auburn right now. Like, the bottom of this league does not appear to be as soft as I thought it was going to be. Washington State beat Wisconsin again today. Arizona took Mississippi State to overtime on the road.
Yeah.
There aren't, looking at the rest of the schedule, there aren't like a whole lot of wins where you're like, that's a definite win. Like, I think Colorado can win a lot of those games. I think they can go bowling, but 8-9 wins, that seems like a lot.
So Nebraska did a really good job defensively of matching. Like, sometimes they would send extra pressure and it would mess them up. And sometimes they would rush 3 and drop 8 and it would mess them up. And I thought that Sean Lewis and Shedeur and Colorado did a good job of adjusting. Like, the game changed, which I will acknowledge, but like, you did a pretty good job of taking a great game plan, understanding what they were doing, figuring out what your pivot was going to be, and being able to execute on that pivot. The way that they finished was strong and impressive. Nebraska's defense might be better than USC's.
Yeah, I could see that for sure.
I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, I still don't think USC's defense is fully formed. And I thought USC was going to have a 6-game runway.
Guess what? They play on September 30th.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, they don't have a 6-game runway. Like, they will have to play somewhat better defense than they've had. However, I mean, do we think Colorado's defense is better than Stanford's?
Oh, and you're looking at like what, 42-0 at halftime? I don't know. I saw it at 35.
There's 6 minutes left in a half, and it's USC 42, Stanford 3.
Okay.
Like, how clearly, like Colorado's defense is better than Nevada's, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
How much better is it than San Jose State's? Because I mean, USC is putting up like 50 and 60 on these teams. Oregon, I think offensively will be just fine, especially at home against these guys. Like, this could be another one of those games where you have very few tackles for loss. To Tom's point about where's the wins, Arizona State, they did lose their right tackle tonight again, and they're already down 2 starting linemen. So there's definitely a decent chance that like the attrition bug just kills Arizona State.
Live bet Oak State is what you're saying if you're watching live on youtube.com.
They scored twice after it, so I don't know.
It's 15-10 at halftime.
15-10 halftime, yeah. Stanford is definitely beatable by Colorado.
Yes.
At UCLA, I'm not entirely sure that Chip Kelly doesn't realize that these are not preseason games. They actually count, but they did win today, and Dante Moore looks good. And the front 7 for UCLA will probably give them quite a bit of trouble, and the back 7 will probably get tore up a little bit by Shedeur and those guys. And Arizona, certainly at Mile High, is beatable. At Washington State, they look pretty good.
Cam Ward has played really well through the first 2 weeks of the season.
It's weird how they lose Eric Morris, and North Texas looks like an absolute disaster. And all of a sudden, Cam Ward is fixed. I don't know how that goes. And I've never met Eric Morris. I don't know this guy,
but I wonder if this is going to make it to final publish. Let's see. Toppling Wisconsin provided a great moment for this Cougars program, which has undergone some staff shakeup and maybe come out better on the other side. It's a line from Chip Patterson in the column that I just turned to.
Maybe.
I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, I think that Cam Ward's success, and obviously a fantastic win for Washington State against Wisconsin. We'll see if we dive into that more later. But Pac-12 is going to be really interesting.